Hi, everyone. Hi, how are you? Um, I see that we have a lot of people joining now, so to just let you some time, give you some time to join the session. Let me introduce myself. So I'm Olga. I will be your host today. It's the last webinar for customer support and community teams from AppFollow this year, and I'm very excited about our guest here. But before I jump into the introduction of our speaker, let me go through some organizational moments. So the fireside chat will last for about 40 minutes. At the end, we will have 10-15 minutes for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, just pop them here in the chat. And also, I would really like to know, and I believe Guillaume as well, who is in our audience today. So if you can just introduce yourselves, where are you based, and what company you work with, that would be awesome. As well, if you don't hear us or there are some issues, also let us know. I will be monitoring the chat, and we will see if there is anything we can repeat or fix any issues. So that's it with the organizational part. And now I'm very happy to introduce you Guillaume Poirier. I hope I pronounced it correctly. He is the VP of Customer Care in Lydia app. These guys are one of the hottest European fintech startups. I came across them around 2 years ago. I was fascinated by how easy they make those operations with money, and like you can send any amount of money to people. So it was very exciting to me to it is very exciting to me to have Guillaume here at the in front of me in my laptop. Also, Lydia have over 4 million users. They are number 4 in the finance category in the App Store. And earlier this year, 2020, they raised $45 million in Series B from Tencent. So it's a very exciting journey. And they also have a 30% of market share in France. And I believe that they have a lot of great plans to conquer the rest of the world. So without further ado, Guillaume, could you please introduce yourself to our guest here?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Guillaume. Obviously, I'm French, as you can hear from my accent. So I hope it will be fine for you to understand me. Don't hesitate to ask if I need to repeat anything. So I'm currently a vice president at Lydia. I joined the company in 2019 after a few years in consulting strategy. First, I had in my perimeter customer care, and then I handled the KYC team and the back office team as well. And I'm now in charge of these 3 teams. And today I will talk to you about customer care team specifically.
Super, thank you very much. Guys, can you hear us? Because there are no messages in the chat, and I'm worried that we're just having a chat here between ourselves. Oh, super. Yay. That's great. I see a lot of different, oh, super. Now the chat became interactive.
Perfect.
That's great to see. So yeah, before we start, guys, could you also share the number of people on your customer support teams or customer care teams, so we can also maybe somehow compare it to what Guillaume will be talking about today. So to start our fireside chat, Guillaume, could you please tell us how is your customer support team organized? So you mentioned that you came to Lydia 2 years ago, and how was it? How is it now? If you could take us through this journey, please.
Sure. So customer support is organized around 2 main activities: customer care on one side and KYC on the other side. Overall, it represents today roughly 50 people, either internal or outsourced agents. The split between internal and outsourced agents is roughly 60-40, and we are happy with it. We think that having the biggest share of agents here at Lydia allows us to have good communication with product and tech team, and it's very important for us to be very close to this team and to provide feedback and to improve our customer experience. So the team is growing at fast pace to deal with the growth of our user base. As you said, Olga, we now have 4 million users. When I joined the company only 18 months ago, we had only 2 million users and roughly 20 people in the team. So we are growing fast, and we need to adapt our organization, our processes to this growth. So if I do a quick focus on each activity, KYC is quite interesting. I don't know if you're all aware about it, but it combines two key elements, security and efficiency. Basically, what's KYC? That's an acronym for Know Your Customer. And this is the obligation we have as a financial company to verify the identity of our users based on banking regulations such as AML, CTF, anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing. And it's quite a huge activity for us and very sensitive, because if you're not a KYC user, you won't have access to all our features, such as our debit card, such as credit. So we need to enhance a good user experience by KYCing our user as fast as possible. And that's a huge challenge, because every month we handle more than 400,000 documents per month we have to check, either automatically or manually. Of course, we implemented a lot of processes that allow us to check most of these documents automatically, but we still have roughly 30% of these documents we check every month by an agent. And to do that, we have about 10 people working on a daily basis, 7 days a week on KYC. The second activity, which is the biggest for us, is customer care. We have now about 40 people working on customer care, and it regroups 3 main areas of responsibility. The first one is ticket management, or maybe I would say requests management. Basically, we interact with users, and we respond to their request with what we hope is efficiency, care, professionalism. To do that, we mostly use asynchronous channels such as emails, social media, reviews on stores. And this is why we use AppFollow to do that. We also have a chatbot that is handling about 30% of our monthly requests. Maybe we will discuss about it later. And we also recently opened a phone line for our paying users. As you may know, Lydia is mostly a free app, and most of our user base don't subscribe to plan to use it. But for our paying user, we decided to offer a premium experience and offer them the possibility to call us. So this is the first area of responsibility for customer care. The second one is bug and issue escalation, because as we are handling a lot of tickets, a lot of requests, we have the capacity to detect bugs or issues, and we provide assistance to the tech team to qualify the bugs encountered by our users, so that they can fix them quickly. So how do we do that? We have tech experts in the team who are in charge of qualifying the bugs, assessing its criticity. For instance, do they touch only a few users or our total user base? That's very important. And then we push these tickets, this issue to the tech team, so that overall we can have a great communication between them and customer care agents. And finally, the last area of responsibility in my team is product improvement. So of course, product improvement is mostly the responsibility of the product team, right? But we can contribute to product improvements by analyzing user pain points and collecting feedbacks. So how we do that? 'First, we need to assess the volume of tickets per category. We need to identify the most important tickets, and we need to prioritize them. And then we Then we identify the root causes that are generating this context. We try to identify what improvements could help to fix or reduce these contact rates. And then we discuss them with the product team and we add them to the product roadmap. And once the improvement is released, well, we check the results. We see if we manage to solve all our issue or just a part of it. And then we work again, and step by step, with a continuous improvement, we're fixing these issues. So basically, this is how my team is organized today and what we're doing on a daily basis.
Cool. Thank you so much. So yeah, you mentioned that you work closely with the product team and tech team. How did you manage to make this, let's say, collaboration seamless? And is it only you who work, like who sends, let's say, those like feature requests, or is it just the reports? How often also do you communicate? Could you tell us a bit more about this?
Sure. So that's a good question because seamless is a big word, but at least we are doing our best. So how we do that? First, we try to internalize in the customer care team expertises or people with the required expertise to be able to communicate with these teams. So we strongly developed our expertise on tech topics so that when we identify a bug, we are able to properly qualify it, to express it in a way that a tech team will understand, and to help them work on it with efficiency. For the product improvements, what we built is a feedback loop. So every month, we discuss with the product team, and we share them all the improvements or feedback we detected. But to do that, you need to have qualified cases, if I can say. What I mean by that is that we cannot just say, well, this user said that, and that user says this. This will be useless for the product team because it won't give a global picture of the issue faced by our users. So if we want to push a product improvement, first you need to strictly qualify this improvement by defining, for example, how many tickets payments this issue or this product improvement represents. I give you a significant example. When I joined the company 18 months ago, blocked accounts represented a huge part of the tickets we received every month, something like between 15 and 20%. So it was really a huge part of our tickets. So what we did is analyze each of these tickets, identify the root cause, generating issues, preventing people to connect their accounts. And then we built maybe 7, 8, or 9 product improvements. And for each of them, we assessed the number of tickets we could save and basically the money we could gain if we could prevent people from contacting us for this issue. And I think this is a very powerful way to work. If you manage to qualify the results you will have if you push a product improvement, this is a good way to push this product improvement in the product roadmap. But if you cannot manage to do that, then you will face counter arguments. Maybe you will have business product improvements or a marketing product improvements that will be pushed before yours. So showing the real impact in terms of money is very important as a customer care team.
Okay, thanks. And how do you communicate this to users? So, say your product team is going to launch this feature. Do you come back to the users, or do you like have a list of people who requested it, or do you just send in app update you those release notes, you fill in these release notes, or how do you communicate it back to users?
Well, we are not perfect on this point, but what we try to do as much as possible is to use tags on each ticket as soon as we identify a product improvement. And then we can get back to the user once it's shipped. For instance, a big request we have at the moment is to have a dark mode for our app. So we are working on it, and we hope that it will be released soon. And we have a bunch of users, maybe a few hundred, that contacted us for that, and we will get back at them once it releases.
Okay, super. Thanks. So yeah, you, I mean, considering what you just said, you are very metric driven. And like you focus on those features that can actually make impact and can help you with, apps revenue and the company revenue. What are the main metrics that you follow as the team?
Sure, that's a very good question. Here we have two kind of metrics, actually. The first kind is activity metrics. The other one is what I will call performance metric.
Mm-hmm.
What is activity metrics? For me, it's two main things. The first one is the inbound volumes I received every month. And here at Lydia, it represents huge volumes. We received about 35,000 tickets per month. So if it increased from only 1%, it's beginning to be a huge increase for us. So this is something we need to monitor closely. And the second thing is contact rate. Contact rate is very interesting because it's key to identify how to tackle product improvements. We have two kind of contact rate. We have first a contact rate per monthly active user. And this is a standard metric that basically gives you the part of the users that contact you every month. And this is very interesting. We have roughly 1.1% of active users that contact us every month.
Mm.
But here at Lydia, we have plenty of features, and frankly, talking about a contact rate per monthly active user is not really relevant, because if you use the app to do only a P2P payment, or if you subscribe for a loan, or if you use your debit card every day, you won't have the same usage. And this way, talking about a monthly active user as a whole is not relevant. So what we try to do is to define a contact rate per feature. And now I'm able to track what is the part of a user who will contact us because they blocked their account, compared with the total number of users who connected to their account on the month. Or what is the part of users who contact us because they have a problem with their debit card, compared with the total number of users who used their debit card over the month. And this is much more accurate. And this really helps us to focus on our true issues. Maybe if I need to illustrate that, we have a significant part of our tickets that are related to P2P transactions. And it's obvious and it's normal because we are, first of all, a P2P app. P2P transaction app. So a P2P transaction represents maybe 20% of the tickets we receive every month, but the contact rate for a P2P transaction, or the people who write us because they have an issue with their P2P, compared with the total number of transactions, is below 0.001%. So it's a very low contact rate, and basically it means that it works well. It's just that because we have a huge volumes of transaction, people, of course, have to contact us sometimes. On the other hand, we noticed that we had a huge issue with debit card deliveries. When we wanted to send a debit card to the users who ordered them, we had a huge contact rate, about between 5 and 10%. So it was really, really high. And thanks to this contact rate, we managed to work on it and develop new processes to tackle this issue. So this is my first kind of metrics. I will call them activity metrics. The second part is what I will call performance metrics, as I said, and we have a bunch of them. The first one is first response time. As you all know, speed does everything in support, and we work a lot to improve this metric. To do that, we started to provide a 7-day 7 support, and we had a significant success. For instance, I was talking about KYC earlier, and we managed to cut down by 70% in 1 year our KYC delays. So this is my first metric. The second one is quality. We need to assess a sample of tickets sent by each agent every week in order to see if they respect our procedures, if they respect the guidelines we have in terms of tone of voice, in terms of grammar and syntax. So this is a second important metric. And the third one is customer satisfaction, because it's a good thing to know that we're happy with our quality, but what about our users, right? So we have a customer satisfaction score that we monitor every month, and we can split it by topic, by agent, and then identify what to work and what to improve.
Okay. Thanks for so to sum it up, you have, let's say, 2 activity and performance metric, and then the main 4 are is the customer satisfaction, then number of tickets that customer support team responds to, then first response time. I think that's the main one for all support teams,
Yeah,
and contact rate per feature. That's
exactly.
actually that's actually a unusual one, because not a lot of teams measure this one, as per my knowledge.
I think that contact rate is a really interesting metric, because it's not only a metric on which the customer care can work alone. When you're talking about contact rate, it's obviously a metric that will imply tech team, that will imply product team, and this is a true company metric, and on which every team can work on.
Mm-hmm. Cool, thanks. And then you also mentioned that you have different channels for communicating with users. Do you have different metrics for each, or how do you measure efficiency of each channel?
Well,
And also, as you said that you said that you, just to give an overview to our audience here, you mentioned the phone line, the email, app reviews, and then social media.
yeah,
Am I right? Okay, super. So
yes.
yeah, how do you measure efficiency of support team on each channel?
Well, we use the same metrics overall for all the channels we handle, but we won't apply the same goals. I give you an example. If we need to handle reviews or social media, we will need to be much more reactive than on emails. And we will handle this request in priority. Same thing, of course, for phone calls. We will make sure that when someone tries to call us, he will have an answer in only a few minutes. While for an email, which is an asynchronous channel, you can wait a few hours before having an answer to your request. But
Okay.
basically, we are today using the same metrics for all our channels.
Super. Yeah, I also, guys, in the audience, I also launched a poll there, so we can also see what kind of metrics you track, and to kind of understand how common are the support teams are. And we also have like, our audience is mostly people support and community teams of mobile apps, and as you mentioned, asynchronized channels. Could you tell a bit more about how do you work with app reviews? Because this is not this is something that we're like, it is quite important, because it's everyone can see them, but not a lot of teams really address them somehow. Can you share your experience how you do this?
Yeah, so as you said, reviews is very important, because it's public reviews, and you need to improve as much as possible the image of your company. So to do that, we dedicated, sorry, a small team to app reviews and to social media in order to provide this user a specific answer with a great response time. They have a specific tone of voice. They are trained to reply with answers that will meet the company's image. And I think this is a very great improvement that we set up a few months ago.
Super, thanks. Okay, so we've spoken about channels, and do you have also a like? Do you use a help center? So this one is, generally to help customers use their find answers to their questions themselves. And could you maybe share also some experience on this? And how did you create it?
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, we are using a help center. This help center is available in different languages here, though, so mostly in French, but also in English, and we're translating progressively in other languages. I think the main issue with the help center is not to write article, but to make sure that people will find them when they need them. So what you really need to do is to structure your help center to be understandable, and have a true funnel from general topics to very specific issues. And we work a lot on it. We need to adapt this article every day or every month because the app is changing on a very regular basis. We are releasing features very often. So to maintain this app center is a hard work. Then we need to. What we try to do is to push this help center directly in the app. So before contacting the support team, we will always ask you, did you check this article? And maybe you will find the answer there, and maybe you won't have to contact us. So this is something that we are really working on.
Super. And yeah, you said that you have, you're mostly operating in France, but you said that you have different languages. Also, how with the relation to the support team, do you have agents who speak different languages, or like this is just an external, just going back to the how the support team is organized, or it's an external team that you have in different languages, or how do you make this work?
Sure. So far, we operate in several languages. So, as you said, mostly in French. And I will say it still represents maybe 90% of the interaction we have with our users. But we are able to handle tickets in English, in Portuguese, in Spanish, and Italian. Yeah, that's it. So what we did is we set up automation rules that will redirect tickets toward specific agents depending on the language. So if you're writing to us in Portuguese, you will be redirected to our Portuguese team, etc., etc.
Oh, cool.
But what we had to do, and it was also a strong, huge work, was to translate all our materials in these several languages. So we are using a bunch of canned responses, macros. Maybe we have like 200 of them, and they were built at first only in French, and now they're available in 4 or 5 different languages. And this is hard work to do that and to maintain, of course, because every time you need to update something, you need to update them in several languages.
Super. Well, yeah, I believe it's a hard routine work, but you cannot really, just give up on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Need to do that. And yeah, so if you have 4 million users and 2 million of active users, if I'm right. And how do you do you use automation, or how do you make these people, all your users, feel cared of? And it is so I counted here that you have around 40,000 users, active users per one customer care person. How do you actually increase efficiency and make their job, your team job, like your team's job, easier, and your customers happier?
Well, It's obviously the hardest part of the work, and we don't succeed every time, unfortunately, but we are doing our best and we try to improve every day. Um, I would say maybe the first thing or the first question to ask is how do you prevent users to contact you? Because the experience is so great that they don't need you actually, right? So to do that, that's the work on product improvements I shared with you earlier, and it's very important. The second one is how do you allow users to find the information they need? And this is a help center we also discussed, but it's very important because basically it means that people will contact you only when they have a true issue that they cannot solve by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and to do that, we also have a chatbot. Maybe I will dwell on
Yeah,
it later.
if you could tell us a bit more, because I know that not a lot of teams love, well, or dare to use automation. So if you could share maybe your successes with it, and I will also publish here a poll so we can see how many people here do use automations too, or bots.
Sure. So the chatbot is quite a huge success for us because it's handling by itself, I would say, roughly 30% of the requests we received every month. So if we didn't have it, well, we will need to be much more people in the team. So the chatbot is quite simple to use. You express a question as a user, and then we will be able to detect what's the topic, and then you will enter a funnel that will bring you to an answer. The great thing with our chatbot is that it's connected to our back office system. So if you have an issue with your debit card, I would say, then the chatbot will be able to detect how many debit cards you have registered in the app. If you say, okay, I have an issue with a payment, it will show you the list of the last payments you made, and it will ask you which payment you have an issue with, etc., etc. So basically, it will be able to check the status and all the information available in our system, as an agent will do, and
Mm-hmm.
provide the user with a first information. For about 50% of interaction with our chatbot, the information provided with the chatbot by the chatbot only will be sufficient, and the user won't have to contact us. And if the user is not satisfied, or if the answer provided by the chatbot is inaccurate, then it will generate a notification here at the customer care team, and we will handle the request manually. The great thing is that the notification will provide a lot of informations shared by the user that will be very useful to handle his case quickly and with efficiency. And then we won't need to ask questions again with the user. We won't need to make all the qualification work that is quite quite hard to do, and we will be able to provide quickly an answer to the user.
Mm-hmm. And did you develop this chatbot yourself?
No, we are working with a provider called Cluster.
Mm-hmm.
And today the chatbot is available in French only. And today it's doing the job because most of our user base is here in France. But we will develop a multi-language bot next year.
Mm-hmm. Super. That's and how early did you introduce automation or just chatbot? How big was the team?
Well, it was an issue from the beginning here at Lydia because as a startup we don't have a lot of money, and we need to be sure that the team scales, and we are not 100 people at customer care. So automation was an issue and a target from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we released the chatbot 2 years ago now, and of course we improved it step by step until today. Uh, we are also working a lot on automation with the data team in order to be able to automatically qualify the emails we receive. So we did a hard work on it this year in 2020, and now we are able to automatically qualify about 70% of the tickets we receive, and then we have the capacity to route these tickets toward a team, or yes, toward different teams in order to handle them specifically. The next
Mm-hmm.
step of our automation program will be to provide automatic answers to emails based on the analysis done by the data team. So if you contact us because you have a blocked account, we will be able to detect who you are, what is your account, what is its status, what did you do before, did you already try to connect or not, and then based on all these analyses that are currently done by an agent, we will be able to send you contextual answer. So this is a huge work for us in 2021, and if we manage to do that, I will be very happy.
So this is your, let's say, KPI for 2021.
Yeah, this will be one of our biggest projects.
Super, thanks. So I think that one of the last questions, and I also see that we have a few questions in the chat here. It's mostly about tools and what kind of what does make your job easier. You already mentioned you use Cluster for Chatbot. What kind of other tools do you use for other daily, let's say, routines that you have?
Sure. Well, I think we are not very goofy on this one. We are using a technical stack that I think most of you must use every day. So we use a Notion for our knowledge base, and I think it's very, very powerful tool because everyone can contribute to the knowledge base. Everyone can write articles. Everyone can update a process or a procedure if needed, and this is a very powerful and collaborative tool. We are using a front app to handle emails, social media, and reviews. We have our own back office tool, and that's great because it allows us to have a tailor-made tool that really meet our needs. And we are using Slack for international communication. As I told you before, I also love dashboards, and I think it's a really key. It's really key for a customer care manager to properly understand his activity. So we are using a tool called Metabase to develop these dashboards and monitor closely all our metrics.
And then, do you use this Metabase dashboard tool for also gathering feedback and reports? Because there is also a question as what we were talking about tools. So how is how do you organize this feedback? What kind of tools you use, and how do you send it to the product teams?
Sure. We are using a Notion for that. We created Kanban boards where we create cards for each product improvement, and then I review them every month. We have a list of tickets that are related to each of these product improvements, and then when we have enough information to qualify properly the product improvement, we push the card to the product team.
So it's basically you are the person who reviews the feedback and sends it to the product team.
Yeah, I do that with some people in my team.
Okay. Katerina, I think that I hope that this answered your question. If not, we will spend some more time answering it. Super. So yeah, we have 10 more minutes for Q&A, but to sum up our dialogue here, what are the 3 tips that you would suggest for people who want to build a flawless, super efficient customer support team?
Well, I would say the first one is, I would say analytics. As you know, I'm fond of dashboards, but it's really because I think that you need an accurate knowledge of your activity in terms of types of tickets, especially in terms of contact rate, in order to put your efforts where they will have the biggest impact. So to do that, for instance, we started to tag manually 100% of the tickets we handle every month. And this way we have a really accurate understanding of what we are doing. What are the category of tickets that are raising? What are the category of tickets that are declining? And it's really important to understand the impact of your product improvement, to understand the impact of a bug or of a new feature. And it's also really important to communicate within the company. Um, my second tip will be documentation, because I really think that you cannot do anything if you don't properly document your processes, your procedures, your features. In a startup, you're moving fast, you're changing the way you work almost every day, and you cannot only rely on oral communication. It won't work. It won't work at scale. And if you want one day to outsource, if you want one day to onboard 2, 3, maybe 5 or 10 people at the same time, you need to have properly documented procedures and information. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why a tool like Notion is crucial for me. And the last one is expertise. It will be a huge mistake to think that customer care agents only have to answer tickets and the knowledge or the expertise in other team. Here at Lydia, we truly think that we need to have experts that deeply understand their product, that deeply love customer care, to be able to provide our users with the best experience possible. So it means that you need to attract talents that truly believe in this goal, and then to be able to keep them in your team, of course, to develop overall your level and expertise.
Mm-hmm. Super, thanks. Thank you very much for answering all my questions. I see here a question about the career path, and as you mentioned, that customer support team should not only bluntly answer tickets. Could you share what is the career path for a regular customer agent and how it is done in Lydia?
Sure. Well, actually, it's a really moving topic because I think it really depends on the size of your team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you have a small team, really focused on tickets management, it's hard to offer your agents a career path. And now I'm lucky enough to have a big team and to be able to um, give people a true path in the team. So when you enter the team, you're what we call here a customer care specialist. So your main job will be to answer tickets and to grow your expertise on the product, on ticket management, on customer relationship. And once you're good with that, then you will be able to move toward two different kind of jobs. The first one is a expertise job, what we call here customer care analysts. So basically, you will be specialized on one feature or a few features of the product, like payments or money pots or account management. And your role will be to be the in between tech team and the customer care team. So you will be there to help the customer team to grow its expertise on these specific features, these specific procedures. And on the other side, you will be here to handle the escalation from the customer care team to the tech team or operation team. When we face a bug, when we have a product improvement, they will be there to help me qualify this issue, qualify the criticity of this issue, and then we'll be able to develop a specific relationship with tech team and help them to handle this issue quickly. So this is the job of um, expert or analyst, how I'll call them. And the second one, of course, is management position, because as your team grow, you need to have middle managers to help you manage the team. And now we have here at Lydia 3 middle managers that help me to handle part of the team.
Mm-hmm. Super, thanks.
And
Oh yeah, sorry. No, keep it going. Keep it going.
no, no.
Super.
Then Lydia is very. It's still a young company. We're only a few years old, but I do think that customer care also open doors for other departments in the company, like product or product management, because you have a strong knowledge of what are the expectation of our users, how they feel, how they react to your features. And then you can dwell on that or rely on that to move toward a career on product, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Super. And so how many people did you start with in customer care team when just Lydia was founded? Did you have just one person who was dealing tickets, or
Yeah, I guess we had one at the time.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
it grew quite quickly.
Yeah, that's an impressive growth from 1 to 50, and also some external people. That's great to see. So there is another question: how do you evaluate the impact of customer service for the business?
Well,
I
that's
think you've mentioned a bit, but if you can maybe kind of summarize what you said here.
well, that's really complicated actually because customer care here at Lydia is more a cost center than a revenue center. By that I mean that we don't do a selling, we don't sell products. So basically, we don't have an impact on business per se because we don't sell anything. But we have an impact on the bottom line, if not the top line, because if we work well, if we manage to improve our contact rate, if we manage to reduce our cost, we will be able to bring Lydia toward profitability. And this is, of course, something very important for a startup. So this is why you really need to manage your customer care team as a cost center, but I will say in a positive way. The idea is not to cut jobs, but to be able to maintain the same quality with almost the same size of your team.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Sorry, you were going to say something.
Well, maybe the last thing was about features, because um, as you are able here at customer care to share feedback with product team, you're able to see what works, what don't work in terms of business attractivity, and then sales team or marketing teams are able to adapt the language, adapt their communication to have more impact, and then be able to sell more products.
Mm-hmm. Super. Thanks, Valentina. I hope it answered your question. There is another question from Michelle. You mentioned that VIP customers have benefits, a phone line. So, do you have other strategic tactics for specific customer groups?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. What we try to do with VIP customers is really to bring more value in their subscription. And my gut feeling is that having the possibility to reach directly your customer support team is bringing value to the global offer of a premium subscription.
Mm-hmm. Super, thanks. I also have a few questions that people submitted when they were registering. So, do you pay attention to app rating when you work with reviews?
Of course, and it's terrible. Or at least it's very hard for us because app reviews. My feeling is that you have two kind of people who post app reviews. You have people who love you and people who hate you, and it's very easy to handle love reviews. It's much more difficult to handle hate reviews, and you really need to understand why. And sometimes here at Lydia, we have legitimate people who are legitimately angry against us because, for instance, we didn't manage to solve properly the issue. And of course, these people, we will try to contact them, we will try to help them and to fix their situation in order that ultimately they accept to update their review. But we also have here at Lydia, because that's a financial service, lots of fraudsters.
Mm-hmm.
People are using Lydia for scam on when selling goods on the internet and stuff like that. And these people are very aggressive, and they, I would say, pollute your reviews, and it's difficult to handle these guys. So we are doing our best, but this is sometimes tough to see that overall you will have maybe 10% of bad reviews that don't actually represent the feeling of your users.
You just need to report them, and
Yeah, of course, but it takes time.
of course. So, would up rating be your metric or the product metric that you or like metric of the product team, or you just don't set it as a KPI?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So, if we're talking about up rating, I mean reviews directly affected, would it be something that you would, you know, would it be your KPI to increase up rating, or would it be a KPI of a product team?
I think this is really a company KPI. I won't answer your question this way, but because you can have plenty of reasons to pass a review. One of them is customer care. Another is a feature that works well or doesn't work. And my team is in charge of monitoring these reviews to understand why people are rating us this way or another way. And then we share this feedback with the related team. That can be us or the product team.
Okay, super, thanks.
And
I
it's
have
also very
lots.
powerful to detect bugs, because when you have people who love you, they will be hard with you. And so if they expect a lot, they will tell you very, very quickly if something doesn't work. And it's sometimes very useful to detect bugs and fix them quickly.
Yeah, that's an important thing that you need to communicate back to users for sure. I have the last question from the list of questions that you guys submitted. If you have anything else to add here, we will have 5 more minutes to answer them. If not, then let me just proceed with mine. So you mentioned product and tech teams. I also see there are a few marketing people in the audience. How do you communicate with the marketing team?
Very well, first of all. um, what we managed to do first is to create a great bond between us. Um, to do that, we notably worked on the feature dashboard or feature improvement dashboard I told you about earlier. And by reviewing this dashboard with product team and marketing team, now we have a strong bonds that allow us to really understand what's the impact of my job on theirs, and the other way around. For instance, when I joined Lydia, a marketing team used to send a newsletter when they wanted without even informing me, and it might have a huge impact of my backlog, a huge impact of users, because they didn't spot words or sentences that might generate issues or misunderstanding from our users. And now they really understood that we have an expertise and knowledge on these topics. And now we are really working closely every time we need to send a newsletter, every time we need to make a communication, to identify when will be the best moment, what is the wording we need to use in order to be clear for our users. And today we are working great between both teams.
Cool. Thank you so much. I don't have any more questions. I think we answered everything that our audience posted here in the chat. So thank you very much, Guillaume, for your time and for this conversation. I hope, guys, that you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope that you are leaving us today with some tips and knowledge that you can implement in your teams. So yeah, that's it from us. Happy holidays, and see you next year.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.